Good morning. Good morning, loves. How are you? I am Kalua. I'm imperfectly amazing. And I'm here to welcome the week. Happy Monday. So, yes, oh my goodness, we're just coming off of, so last week we had our Crave Club call and we did some intuitive movement, some shaking and releasing, and then receiving, and just it's just such a powerful way to not just move your body, but also, you know, get things activated, your mind, your emotions, your energy. Good morning, Jennifer. So great to see you this morning. So, if you've been watching along, I've been talking about movement all this month, and this is going to be the final one, I promise. um, but the idea of movement, not just as a physical practice, not just for the health benefits, which we know are vast, right? We know all about how moving your body helps your heart health and all of it, right? So what I've been delving into a little bit more is movement as a way to process your emotions, to clear your emotions, as a way to connect to yourself, right? As like that foundation way of connecting to yourself, right? You're a spiritual being having a human experience, you're in a physical body. And if you're ignoring it and not listening to it, you're already disconnecting, you're cutting it off, right? You're cutting your connection to the divine off. So as we move and we get comfortable in our bodies and we know how we feel, just even as a check-in, um, we really connect back into our intuition. And truly, what is our intuition but you know messages from the divine, right? It's how we connect to the divine. Good morning, Michelle Wanell. So good to see you this morning. I'm glad you're here. um, so that's what I've been talking about all this month. And what's funny is a couple weeks ago, my son is in a book club, right? And the theme was circus, right? So we went and we made hula hoops and poi balls with the kids, right? And we had time left over. And so I was the one who was showing them, because I used to do some hooping. I mean, not professionally or anything, but I've taken some classes and I've learned some tricks, right? And so I said, all right, yeah, I'll show the kids how to do some hooping. And so the mom that was there was like, hey, do you want to go ahead and make a hoop? And, when I moved here, gosh, like 5 years ago, I think it was, my hoop got damaged in the move. So I have not had a hoop in all these years. I like some of the ones I saw along the way, I didn't really care for, so I just didn't grab it. But so yeah, I haven't had a hoop. And I said, you know what? Yeah, let me do it. I'll make one. So I've actually been having some fun with like doing some hooping at night sometimes. And I was actually really pleasantly surprised at how many of the tricks I've maintained. Uh, so just in doing that, right, the hooping, of course, like you're moving your hips, which is very feminine, but it's fun, it's whimsical, right? Just like hula hooping, the whole idea of hula hooping is such a whimsical, fun thing. And it really is that gateway into the feminine, right? That's what the feminine is all about: pleasure and the unknown and mystery. And so when you pick up a hoop, you don't know if you're going to be able to do it. You will. But it's just that fun that you get to have with it. And it really got me to thinking about how we set up our movement practice. And I know that I've been in programs where, even though the emphasis was on the feminine, still it was like this idea of you get up and you journal, then you meditate, then you da 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 da, right? And it's like this rigid checklist of like self-care items that you do. And me being the dutiful little student that I am, I was on it until I found myself in total burnout and actually being more disconnected than I was when I started. So I had to go back and I had to, what works for me? And for me is creating a blend of the masculine and feminine energies so that I am still being structured enough to actually do it and not just, lay in bed or sit on the couch, or right. We need to actually get up and take that action. That's the masculine. But we've also got to honor ourselves and be in the flow with whatever mood you're in. And there's the feminine. So, you know, so what I say about that is with the masculine, finding a time, like just dedicating a time that is the most realistic for you. Some people, it's first thing in the morning because otherwise it will not happen. Other people might have busy mornings and it's got to be later in the day. Whatever that time is for you, just set that aside as this is going to be my time to move. And when you do that, I'm thinking how I want to say this. When you do that, I want you to do that with love for yourself. If you're 15 minutes late, you still showed up. If you need to take a day off, you're honoring your body. That is the feminine, right? If you're noticing that you're taking too many days off, now we got to get back into the masculine. So that's where the balance comes. But it's never about beating yourself up. And it's never about, oh, I'm a failure or I didn't. No, if it's not working, tweak it, change the time, do what you need to do. Maybe it's you need to start with 15 minutes. Okay, that's 15 more minutes than you did the day before, right? So I want you to, however you set this up, to do it with as much love for yourself as possible. And remembering the whole point is to have that connection with your body. It's not about, crushing so many calories. It's not about like feel the burn. It's not about any of that other like kind of stuff. It's about that connection with your body. So what feels good to you? And so over this past month, I've been talking about, just different ways that you can use movement in your life, different modalities of movement. And so if you want to like go back to my posts and my past lives over this month, and you'll really get a good idea of different things that you can do. And what I want to say to you is don't discount things because they're gentle. Because like intuitive movement, qigong, tai chi, that stuff is so gentle but powerful. And I mentioned that in a previous one. It doesn't have to be hard to be effective. That's old programming. That's an old mindset. So you don't need to make things miserable. I want you to bring the joy. Bring the joy into it. And there's the feminine. What do you like to do? Do you like to dance? Do you like to go for walks in nature? Do you like to do qigong? What do you like to do? And give yourself permission to do that. It's really, really easy when you think about it like that. The other thing I want to say is maybe you work out like a little schedule, like, well, I like to do a couple things. So on Mondays and Wednesdays, I'm going to do this. And on Tuesdays and Thursdays, I'm going to do this. Great. You've got an idea. You've got a plan. But maybe you wake up on Thursday and you don't want to actually do what's dedicated to Thursday. Is it okay to maybe do the other thing or something different altogether? Yes, absolutely. And I mention this because I was doing over the summer where it was like, on these days I walk and on these days I do yoga. And I woke up one morning and it was a yoga day and I didn't feel like doing yoga, but I was like, power through, right? I was kind of in the middle of that masculine list of self-care things I was doing in the morning at that time. So this is actually what broke me out of it. I went and I was like, no, power through, do the yoga. Well, what turned out was I was starting to fight something off. Now, luckily it didn't hit, but what happened was because my body was not in a place to do the yoga, I ended up with a back full of knotted muscles, doing the same kind of stuff I do all the time. But my body was like, no, not today. And you didn't listen. So Here you go. Right. And then I was sort of run down for a couple weeks while I fought off this illness. And then immediately I knew, okay, I'm sorry and I'm listening. All right. So that's where that intuition is kicking in. You're connecting to your body and it's sending you signals. The innate wisdom of your body is so much wiser than your mind. So it knows what's happening. Your mind doesn't know that you might be starting to fight something, but your body does. And when it tells you to back it down, you back it down. Okay. So that's where that being in flow is so valuable and so important for you. So that's what I have to say this morning. I would love to hear what you think about that. Where are you? Because it's so easy to get caught up in the masculine. I mean, that's the only way we've really learned to do any of this. The personal trainers go, and that's just the mindset that has always been brought to movement, right? Really, fitness is what it's been called. I like to say movement because we're moving our bodies. We're in a dance with our own body. And so, whether you're dancing or not, it's still a dance. And that's why we're blending. We're blending those two energies, the masculine and the feminine. The masculine, which is getting us up so that we actually do it, and the feminine that's keeping us in flow. So, we're doing what's best for us. Jennifer's saying, allow ourselves grace and permission to change accordingly and be flexible. Yeah. Yes, absolutely. And you know what? Sometimes you might have a day where you're like, oh, I'm just going to do this light thing. And then you get going and you're like, you know what? I'm going to amp it up. Okay. It got you up, didn't it? So there you go. Because if you went and tried to be all gung ho, you probably wouldn't have gotten up at all. So this is where the blend helps us stick with it and be in alignment with ourselves. So I hope that's working for you. I would love to hear, like, where is that showing up for you? Is that resonating at all? Are you noticing that you're a little bit too much in your masculine or a little bit too much in your feminine when it comes to a movement practice? Or are you just not moving at all? And that's okay too, because that's just awareness of where you are and where you're going. So is that something you want to incorporate? Again, I'm a mover. I really like to move, and even I have been feeling the less movement in my life with the way things have changed over the last couple of years, and so I'm bringing more back in, but still working with that flow. And you know what? Sometimes if you're too tired, your body is saying rest, and that's important so you don't injure yourself. Okay? So listen, the whole point of moving your body is to be in alignment with it, to be connected, and to start to really get that that connection to your intuition or the divine, which is actually your intuition. Jennifer saying, yes, definitely getting back to the gym for more movement and alternative intuitive movement. Also, yeah. And right there, I'm hearing a blend of masculine and feminine. So maybe one day you're going and you're like hitting the weights, but then the next day you're like, oh, I'm going to just dance around. Right. So, yeah. And truly, especially for women, I think the more we blend those, the more in balance we'll feel. And so, yeah, you finding what's right for you. Yeah, you might be in a much more masculine place with your movement just because that's what you've been taught. There's a big push for CrossFit and hit the weights and the boot camps, right? So if that's what you're doing all the time, maybe even just one day a blend of something like yoga, tai chi. You've got to balance, and it's good for the body, the mind, the emotions, for everything. Conversely, if all you do is yoga and you're floating around on air all the time, right? You might need some grounding. You might need to do some, whether it be physical, weights outside of your body or using your own body weight to do stuff. Oops, hello. There we go. So you might need to bring in some of that more masculine energy to get that balance. Jennifer's saying, I feel like I've been stuck in masculine all my life and learning to become more feminine. Yeah, I mean, amen. All of us are, of course. That's what we've been taught. And I think this is such a beautiful place to start because, I've talked about that. Well, in certain ways, I've been very masculine, like I'm trying to think, like probably emotions and things like that. I've been very much in the masculine. And then in other ways, I've been very much in the feminine my entire life, like work and business. And because of that, I always had this impression that I was wrong. There was something wrong with me, that like I didn't have that cutting edge in order to be more successful, or right. So we can make up these things about ourselves like, oh, we're wrong because society has valued this other quality over others for many generations now. But the feminine is now waking up, and it's going to benefit the men and the women. Okay, probably a little more so the women, but definitely the men as well. They have that piece in them. So yeah, so as we're waking this up, just really like that foundation level of doing it is in your own body, and where you could start to realize like, oh, I have this inherent wisdom in me. Why would that be wrong? Right. So that's why this whole month dedicated to, uh, the movement, because like I said, it's just that foundation piece. It's like setting down the concrete for the basement, that you're building that house on. It's just such a easy, fantastic way to start to really cultivate that connection. And Michelle is doing yoga this morning. Excellent. And not trying, doing. And yeah, amen, Jennifer. Michelle said, I love it. Well, ladies, I love you, and I've loved being with you this morning, whether you're here in real time, which I love when you're here and commenting and keeping the conversation going, or if you're watching on the replay, share those comments. And well, I'm always checking those. I hope that you have an amazing rest of your day. I will be here again Wednesday, 9:30, same time, same place, with our divine guidance for the week. So have an amazing one, and I will see you soon. Mwah. Bye.